Zamfara state government donates 50 million naira to Sokoto fire victims. National Assembly calls for quick sales of seized goods. Federal government sets up committee to address SANU and NASU demands. On business, Kebbi Sokoto Zamfara to collaborate with federal government on oil exploration. On the international scene, ECOWAS favors President Muhammadu Buhari's candidate for Africa Union appointments. On sports, Igalo pens 2.5-year Al-Shabaab deal. Welcome to SVTV News. I am Musa Joy Onyoza. Governor Bello Mohamed Matawale Maradun has announced a donation of 50 million naira to fire victims of Sokoto main market, just as he extended the sympathy of Zamfara people to the sad event which occurred last week. In company of his Sokoto state counterpart to the infanticide Alhaji Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, the governor observed that what affects Sokoto people directly affects the people of Zamfara state. Governor Matawale said he was unable to visit the state last week due to the security situation arising in Zamfara state at the time, but prayed for Allah to give the victims of the fire the heart to bear the loss, just as he also called on them to consider it as a special test from God. Governor Bello Matawale observed that when the market was built, it was one of the best in the country, but it has experienced more than one trial like this. Responding on behalf of the victims and government of Sokoto State, Governor Tambuwal thanked his counterpart and promised to ensure that the victims are attended to accordingly. The Speaker of Zamfara State House of Assembly, Alhaji Nasiru Mazuma Garia, has expressed concern over the unnecessary delay in compiling different reports submitted to some committees for onward deliberations and subsequent recommendations at the floor of the House. The Speaker specifically called on chairmen of the committees whose reports await prompt action of the House to submit their report without any further delay. Alhaji Mazuma Garia warned that his leadership would not condone laxity, indolence, or nonchalant attitude to duty, and called on his colleagues to desist from such habit for the overall benefit of the Assembly and the state. Two executive bills, which include a bill for a law to provide for the administration of criminal justice system in the court of the state, and for other related matters 2021, as well as a bill for a law to establish penal code law of the state to penalize crimes established under the law 2021 scaled the second reading after positive contributions and debate by the members. The Katsina State Government is to inaugurate a white paper committee on the report submitted by the State Judicial Commission of Inquiry on the excesses and extrajudicial killings by members of the defunct Special Anti-Robbery Squad. The State Governor Aminu Bello Masari, who disclosed this at the Government House, said the White Paper Committee would come out with modalities to implement the recommendations of the Commission. The Governor said highlights of the report and recommendations of the Judicial Panel have shown that the Commission has conducted a thorough investigation and made far-reaching recommendations for consideration. He expressed delight that the Katsina State Judicial Commission of Inquiry has become the first among all other state commissions to submit its report within the stipulated period. The report and recommendations have indicated that the Commission has conducted a thorough investigation and made far-reaching recommendations for consideration. The Federal Ministry of Education says the implementation of the new teachers' retirement age and years of service took effect from January 1, 2021. The Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Mr. Sonny Echeno, disclosed this in a press statement in Abuja. He said the Federal Executive Council recently approved 65 years and 40 years as the new retirement age and years of service, respectively, for teachers in the country. Reports said in January that FEC approved the bill to increase the retirement age and years of service for teachers. Apart from increasing the retirement age and years of service, the bill also seeks to introduce bursary award, special rural posting allowances, and other items that will encourage brilliant Nigerians to take to teaching. The Minister of Education, Adamu, who briefed journalists after the FEC meeting, said the bill will be sent to the National Assembly for proper legislative process before it could become law. The Federal House of Representatives has called for quick sales of every contraband goods seized by the Nigeria Customs Service. The lawmakers said the attitude of the management of customs towards the sale of seized items was worrisome as it was depriving the country of huge revenue. This was made known when the Technical Committee of the House Committee on Customs and Excise, in its oversight function, paid inspection visit on the Kano Jigawa Command of Customs in Kano City yesterday. The committee expressed disappointment over the poor performance of terminal managers as well as excess charges imposed on importers by shipping firms. It also disclosed it has uncovered many illegal and unauthorized agencies at terminals, saying they are not in the interest of the government. During their interaction with customs officials at the Kano Command, member Kabir Ahmad, who is representing Gusau Safe Federal Constituency from Zamfara State, said the policy of customs, which states that only the Controller General of Customs can authorize the auction of seized items, must be reversed. A federal high court sitting in Kano State has adjourned a suit filed by Center for Awareness on Justice and Accountability against Kano State Government and several others till March 16, 2021. Reports say that the suit is filed against an external loan of 300 billion naira from China Exim Bank to build light rail in the state. On Tuesday, the court granted leave for the Chief MD Duru to take over the defense from Barrister Hussein, a counsel from the Kano State Ministry for Justice. Announcing his appearance on behalf of Kano State Government and State House of Assembly, M.N. Duru argued that the court lacks jurisdiction to entertain the case. He explained that the plaintiff lacks legal standing to challenge the decision of Kano State Government and State House, of whom, according to him, were elected to represent the interests of Kano people. President Muhammadu Buhari has asked the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, to hand over. IGP Adamu completed his 35-year service on Monday. He was expected to have handed over to the most senior officer at the close of work on Monday, but he did not, fueling the feeling that he might be granted an extension of service. On Tuesday, IGP Adamu was at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport to receive President Muhammadu Buhari, who returned to Abuja after a 4-day trip to his hometown in Daura. It was learned that the IG was told of his fate after President Buhari's arrival. Adamu was waiting for the presidential directive. He would have left on Monday, but it will be discourteous to have existed without a clear-cut directive from the President and Commander-in-Chief. A joint committee has been set up by the federal government to address complaints by non-teaching staff unions of universities as it threatens nationwide strike on February 5th. The Minister of Labor and Employment, Senator Chris Njija, who stated this while addressing newsmen at the end of a closed-door meeting with the non-teaching staff of the federal universities on Tuesday in Abuja. The non-teaching staff are the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, a non-academic staff union of the university and allied institutions. It could be recalled that a joint action committee on NASU and SANU threatened a strike on February 5th to press home its members' demands. Their demands include rectifying inconsistencies in the Integrated Payroll Personal Information System (IPPIS), non-payment of arrears of minimum wage, delaying renegotiation with government, NASU and SANU 2009 agreement, among others. Still to come your way is the business, the international and the sport. But before that, a quick commercial break. Stay tuned.
Standard Voice Television, bridging the gap.
Welcome back on Business. Samira Ibrahim has more detail.
Welcome to Business Desk. Kebbi, Sokoto and Zamfara, that made up the Sokoto River Basin Authority, have charged the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation to spearhead the exploration of crude oil in the basin. The charge was made on behalf of the governments of Sokoto, Kebbi and Zamfara, where the basin is, by the Governor of Sokoto State, Aminu Waziri Tambuwal. According to Governor Tambuwal, who spoke at the first quarter 2021 public lecture series at the Usman Danfodio University in Sokoto, which was chaired by his Kebbi State counterpart, Senator Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, the Sokoto State government and that of Kebbi and Zamfara states are ready to collaborate with the NNPC on exploration activities in Sokoto Basin. In a statement by his special advisor on media and publicity, Mohammed Bello, the governor pointed out that the initial unsuccessful attempt to seek crude oil deposit in what is otherwise known as Tuareg Basin, which predates Oloibiri, was that of ELF expedition 70 years ago. And that's all on Business Desk today. I'm Samira Ibrahim. Thanks for watching and back to the newsroom.
And on the foreign scene, the ECOWAS head of state and government have agreed to step down their candidate for Commissioner for Peace and Security in the African Union in favor of a Nigerian candidate, as requested by President Muhammadu Buhari. Nigeria's Minister for Foreign Affairs, Mr. Geoffrey Onyema, disclosed this to State House correspondent on Tuesday after a closed-door virtual extraordinary session of the Authority of Heads of State and Government chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari, who was represented by Vice President Yemi Osibanjo. Mr. Onyema wants Nigerians to recognize the gesture as a sign of great respect African leaders have for President Muhammadu Buhari. He also stated that the choice of candidate for the head of the African Union from the ECOWAS bloc would also favor the candidate of President Muhammadu Buhari. Top on the agenda for the meeting was the selection of a chairperson for the African Union for the 2022 to 2023 tenure, and a proposed mechanism for the designation of countries in the coming years, a review member state applications for positions in international organizations and the status of the implementation of ECOWAS institutional reforms. Still on the foreign scene, Madagascar has quit World Health Organization over COVID-19 scandal. The country's president, Andre Ranolina, said angrily that Europe created the organizations with the desire for Africans to remain dependent on them. He said Africa has found a medicine against coronavirus, but Europe thinks they have a monopoly of knowledge. As such, they are refusing to acknowledge it. President Andres said from today they are no more members of the World Health Organization. The president has allegedly declared that the World Health Organization offered him $20 million to put a little toxic in their remedy for coronavirus as the Europeans hacked their remedy. And on sport, Odion Ighalo, who was on loan at Manchester United for a year, has undergone the mandatory medicals ahead of a permanent deal with Saudi Arabia club Al Shabab. The 31-year-old thereafter reportedly agreed personal terms on a 2.5-year deal with Al-Shabaab. The Saudi transfer window does not close until February 7th. Igalo's loan spell at United from Shanghai Shenhua came to an end last week. He was due to return to his parent club, but they have given him permission to speak to the Saudi Arabian side. He scored 5 goals in 23 appearances across all competitions for United after arriving on deadline day last January, but has made only 2 starts this season since Edison Cavani joined in October. Igalo confirmed his departure from Old Trafford in an emotional farewell message last Tuesday. That has been the news from Standard Voice Television. To end the news, a quick look at the major headlines. Zamfara state government donates 50 million naira to Sokoto fire victims. National Assembly calls for quick sales of seized goods. Federal government sets up committee to address SANU and NASU demands on business. Kebbi Sokoto Zamfara to collaborate with federal government on oil exploration. On the international scene, ECOWAS favors President Buhari's candidate for Africa Union appointment. On sports, Igalo pens 2.5-year Al-Shabaab deal. That's the news on behalf of the production crew and head of news and current affairs department, Alhaji Ibrahim Garbatino. I still remain Musa Joy Udnyoza. Thanks for watching and stay tuned.